Now, let's ask the man himself, UFC President Dana White. So let's get into it. Who comes back in 2015, Dana?
We'll see. I mean, I really do think that George St. Pierre will be back in 15. And Brock Lesnar has a contract with the WWE, and he knows he can call me whenever that contract's up.
Well, speaking of returns, we've got Anderson Silva coming back against Nick Diaz. How excited are you for that fight?
It's a very interesting fight. You know, after the injury that Anderson Silva had, where's he going to be mentally? You know, I think physically he's a guy who does the right things, works hard, has been working since the injury happened. You know, he's definitely going to be in shape. Will he throw the leg kicks the way that he used to throw them? You know, how's he going to feel when he gets back into competition? You guys know sparring and training is much different than getting in there and fighting. And Nick Diaz hasn't fought in a while either. Today we don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I can't wait for that fight. We had a great fight this past weekend between Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier. Obviously, some unfortunate news with the, Jon Jones testing positive for cocaine. Have you spoken to Jon at all?
Talked to him yesterday before he went into rehab, but I hope to talk to him today.
You know, I know a lot of people have talked about any consequences from Nevada State Athletic Commission, and we know it was out of competition testing. But what about the fighter conduct policy? Are there any talks with the UFC? I know you guys are still awaiting his post-fight drug test as well. Any talks within the UFC about any possible ramifications?
Right now, all we're concerned with is getting Jon better, you know? I'm not worried about the title or any of that stuff right now, any of the fights. It's about getting him taken care of and getting him healed and getting him better. And like you just said, we're still waiting for the post-fight drug test to come back, and we'll make some decisions when all that goes down.
Dana, I want to switch gears a little bit, talk about Lawler-Hendricks 3 that's going on. After seeing that fight, I said, they're going to make a trilogy. They kind of have to. But Rory McDonald now was promised that shot, not getting it. Why do you decide to go with the third fight?
Yeah, it's tough. You say a guy is next in line, but you don't know how that fight's going to turn out. And when you have a war like you've had with these first two fights, Johnny wins the first one, Robbie wins the second one, the trilogy makes sense. It's not that Rory isn't next in line. He is, but now he's just next in line behind this fight.
You know, looking at the bantamweight division, obviously Dominic Cruz is injured again after a tremendous comeback. You know, with him being out now, are we possibly going to see teammate versus teammate and TJ Dillashaw taking on Uriah Faber?
That's possible. I mean, those guys have made it very clear that they will fight each other. We'll see we'll see what happens. I mean, that's not the plan right now here today, but
is Faber
definitely a fight I'd like to see.
Is Faber getting matched up with somebody else then possibly?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that disappointed me last year was not getting a chance to see Cain Velasquez fight. Obviously in Mexico City would have been huge. Will we see that in Mexico City, that fight finally, Verdum and Velasquez?
That's what the plan is. So as long as everything goes our way, which none of it went our way in 2014, that fight should happen there, yeah.
UFC 184 coming up with Chris Weidman taking on Vitor Belfort, double main event. Do you think this is going to be the biggest card of the year?
That's a good question. I mean, the Jon Jones fight was big. I think that the Conor McGregor fight on Fox Sports 1 is going to be big. The Anderson Silva Diaz fight is going to be big, and Weidman, the last Weidman Silva fight was very, very successful on pay-per-view. So, yeah, I think so. I think it will do very well.
All right, well, obviously, we've already talked about some big fights in 2015, and you obviously know about a lot more than we do. What about 2015 excites you most, other than the fact that it's not 2014?
Well, 2015 is starting off, with amazing fights. And the great thing about these fights that are happening here, it's probably the best January in the company's history. And all these fights lead to bigger fights. If you look at, first of all, the Cormier-Jones fight, okay? Now we're going to wait for Rumble Johnson and Gustafsson to fight. The winner of that fight will fight Jones this year, which is going to be a great fight. Diaz and Anderson Silva are fighting. And obviously, if Anderson Silva wins that fight, and whether Vitor or Weidman win that fight, then you have an Anderson Silva versus either one of those guys. Ronda Rousey will fight Kat Zingano, and then she wants to turn right around again and fight in July. Conor McGregor, if he wins that fight in Boston, he will fight Jose Aldo, which will be the biggest fight ever in the history of that division. So all the fights that are happening in January are setting up amazing, fun fights later on this year.